now is Kinsey Schofield, host of Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered. Kinsey, what is your reaction to that?
My God. Yeah, Meghan teaching us about nurturing relationships during the holidays is like asking a snowman for tips on surviving summertime. It's bold, it's ambitious, and it's not rooted in reality. I just have no desire to watch her play home in someone else's home with a bunch of strangers that she's just meeting for the first time while they act like they are lifelong friends here to give us guidance on how to enjoy the holidays. Like, actually, I will have a much better holiday if I do not hear the words Meghan Markle.
That's not even a cynical reading. That's actually just the truth of what that show is. And this is definitely, I mean, this is seriously, I mean, you just described what exactly that holiday special really is. And I think she must have filmed that alongside the other back-to-back shows that she did. I mean, it seems like the woman only did about 2 months of work this entire year between going to fashion shows in Paris and sort of, you know, putting stuff in jars and sending them off. She doesn't do that much work. And I don't think there's going to be any more on the horizon. I mean, we saw her cozy up to Jeff Bezos recently at Kris Jenner's 70th birthday party. Is she looking for the next step? Is this the final chapter of her strange relationship with Netflix?
I don't know if she wants to continue doing this, because while we're laughing about 2 or 3 months of work, it's too much work for Meghan Markle. I think she would prefer to be an influencer. I think she'd rather shoot a 15 to 30 second, okay, maybe 60-second video if the price is right, upload that, and then get, you know, a $500,000 paycheck or whatever she could get for posts on social media. I do think that it's much harder work than she cares to pursue. She also hates the backlash. She hates the criticism she receives. She's become TikTok's favorite parody in 2025, and she absolutely loathes that. But I mean, a lot of debate about what kind of star power she was going to get for the holiday special. We know Catherine, Princess of Wales, has Kate Winslet coming for the Christmas Carol concert, which is a huge win for the royal family. Oscar winner, everybody knows her, whether it's from Titanic or just being adorable in interviews, talking about being 50 and very relatable. And Meghan manages to get Naomi Osaka, who's notoriously sensitive to the point of being a whiner and generating headlines that include words like meltdown. You know,
sound like they found each other, to be honest.
They did. You know, accused of unsportsmanlike conduct back in August of 2025. Exactly. Meghan's met her match.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not exactly, I mean, it was like with season 2, which was a massive flop, didn't even make it to the top 10 charts, which for the amount of money that Netflix has paid is a colossal disaster. You're right. I think everything she has touched has sort of gone to, well, I can't say that on air, but it's not been
Santa's
good.
naughty list.
Yeah.
Santa's naughty list.
Yeah, exactly. It's gone on Santa's naughty list. But I think that's the issue. She is a toxic brand that no one wants to associate themselves with. I mean, I actually kind of came up again. I know there was that drama basically last week about how the Kardashians had her scrubbed from their party videos, or she asked them to have her scrubbed from them. I think that the Kardashians didn't want to be associated with her because even to them, they are a toxic brand. And you're right, she has publicly gone out and said, I don't really want to do these productions with 80 people. I'd much rather do a 1 to 2 minute reel on Instagram. I mean, where to now for Meghan? What is the next step for this woman? Because everything that she doesn't work. It just doesn't work out. It looks like Harry is miserable. He wants to return back to the royal family. I mean, divorce might even be on the cards, Kinsey.
Well, I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. Inevitably, we will be on divorce watch if I'm being as cynical as I feel like being today in this mood after having to watch that YouTube trailer. That's my vibe. But, you know,
Sorry.
Prince Harry, again, heading to Toronto to speak at a conference where they're charging like almost £300 for a leadership conference, spending more time away from home. But can I ask you, I'm going to give Meghan some credit here. While I think she absolutely does not deserve to sit on Fortune's most influential, Fortune's most powerful women's stage and summit. At least she has a tangible product. What has Harry accomplished that allows him to stand in front of a room full of entrepreneurs to talk about leadership? He is America's favorite Nepo baby, literally hit the lottery with his DNA. He has loses Senabali this year. African Parks Charity, you know what, hitting the fan. It feels insane that some of these companies continue to turn a blind eye and play into this fantasy that Harry and Meghan and their team are trying to get us all to fall under.
You're right. He is a hollowed out shadow of a man, and I think that he's been sort of second step with Meghan, and it is sort of, it reminds me a little bit of the Diana King Charles relationship, but I really don't want to compare them because they're very different. But I do think he doesn't like playing second fiddle in a way. I think he was wowed by Meghan to begin with, of course. I mean, as Tina Brown always put it, he was wowed by Meghan because she knew how to make a restaurant reservation. And obviously, the world that he'd come from, that's amazing. You know, she really knows. She's a mover and a shaker. She knows what she's doing, type of thing. I think he'd be wowed by any sort of civilian who had a bit of chutzpah to get themselves into Hollywood. So I agree with you. I think we're seeing kind of the end of his career. The fact that he is almost like a thoroughbred racehorse that can only exist within the tracks of the royal family, and he can't exist outside of that institution. And some might say that that's quite upsetting for him, but in a way, you're right. He is the Nepo baby of the entire century. He won the genetic, well, maybe not the genetic lottery with his hair loss, but he won the lottery in terms of being into the royal family and being born into that institution. And what has he done? He's spaffed it all away. He's basically flushed it down the toilet, and he's been aided and abetted by Meghan. So yeah, you're right. And I think probably the saddest thing about this holiday series is that there'll be no mention of either of their families. Their kids will continue to live these lonely lives without their cousins who are over here in London, and they'll have a very lonely existence. And you know what? I've got a lot of time for estranged families. I really do. You know, there's not a family that I know that doesn't have some sort of, you know, strange uncle or auntie or mother who's off with someone, etc. But Meghan isn't upfront about it. It is this manufactured authenticity that she continues to perpetuate to her audience that no one's falling for. Would you agree with that, Kinsey? I mean, it's just weird.
It is weird, and the way that they are so destructive when it comes to Prince Harry's family specifically. Meghan pretends like hers just don't exist, and they never did. Meanwhile, Samantha's like still trying to sue her sister for defamation, half-sister for defamation.
Yes.
Meghan pretends like hers didn't exist at all, and she's been incredibly destructive towards Prince Harry's, but she likes the perks. The only reason Meghan Markle, the girl that was auditioning for Shakira music videos, and, you know, fellatio in the pilot episode of 90210,
oh yeah,
was at the Kardashians party, was because she insists on continuing to use the Duchess of Sussex title. She would not be invited to that party otherwise, with Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and Beyonce and Jay-Z. That is not a room she could have talked her way in herself. Thank God she married into the British royal family. They elevated her. They opened doors for her. They gave her the platform she has today. And then she accuses them of racism, with Prince Harry coming in behind a year later and denying that that ever happened. It's the fact that they're so hurtful and destructive, making the last few lives of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip's a nightmare from hell, really, so fearful of what was to come, what accusations they were going to make next. But they continue to use that title and the gifts that the royal family gave them by way of relevance to elevate themselves. If you hate this family so much, if they're racists, then be Meghan Mountbatten Windsor, and you can be Harry Mountbatten Windsor. But they refuse to do that.
At the end of the day, she's just a D-list actress that socially mountaineered her way up to the top. And it's annoying because actually sometimes I wish that she would just embrace that. I wish that she would be a little bit more authentic with that. You know, even when she's with her friends, she should talk about, you know, sequestering Harry in the Soho house that night in London. You know, I want to hear those stories. And I think that would make her a lot more likable. But she's never going to do that because she knows that she hides behind this veil. And when I think about the fact that, as you said, she could be spending her Christmases in Balmoral, but she's traded that for Kris Jenner's 70th birthday party hosted at Jeff Bezos's mansion. It just shows me that trash is trash and it will come home to roost. I mean, sorry, but it might be very savage, but that's what it feels like with Meghan. And you're right, without the family name, if there is a divorce on the cards, and I know that you are the one who's always broken that, you broke that amazing kind of story about the divorce book potentially being shopped around. What would
Vanity
that look
Fair did.
well,
Vanity Fair. I'm not going to take credit for Vanity Fair.
I thought that was you. Okay,
so
well, what would that divorce book look like, Kinsey?
Well, I mean, I think we probably would know what it looked like immediately because I'm sure parts of it already exist. She talked about writing in her diary at Frogmore Cottage and stumbling upon that diary when they were given the boot, forced to move out. She openly discusses not having to sign an NDA. She would definitely make the British royal family, and particularly William and Catherine, since she is seething with jealousy over these two, the villains of this story. But I think that she's probably already collecting that evidence today to write that book.
I agree with you. I mean, just to see that this is more on Harry's side, but it's an indication of how no one trusts them anymore. Harry having to enter into Clarence's house through the visitor's entrance opposed to the family and friends entrance, basically because they probably wanted to check him for listening devices. Meaning that's just an assumption that I would make. Shows how much they don't trust that gruesome twosome. And yes, how much she is collecting. We don't know what she might have on Harry, what he might have told her, and what she's going to shop to the public when that relationship does kind of go down the drain, which from that serial killer video that she posted on Instagram of him in the black and white room and her sort of celebrating some sports win. I mean, he looked miserable in those couple of seconds before he then had to feign happiness. It really, I mean, I can't believe she posts that stuff. Even if that was a video of me and my partner, I'd be like, oh God, he looks like he wants to die. I'm not going to put that out, you know. It takes an inch of common sense. Well, Kinsey, thank you so much for joining me. That's Kinsey Schofield, one of my favorite people of all time. She's the host of Unfiltered. Go check that out on YouTube. It's a brilliant thing that I watch basically nightly when I get back from work. The best thing ever. That's Kinsey Schofield.